Hi, I'm Leila Masimwa and you're watching A News. Hear what's making news right now. The French territory of Mayotte struck by a powerful cyclone, causing widespread devastation across the island. Germany's Chancellor Olaf Scholz will face a vote of no confidence in Parliament on Monday, taking a step towards early elections. Bitcoin climbed to record high, extending a rally sparked by President-elect Donald Trump's support for digital assets. The French territory of Mayotte in the Indian Ocean has been struck by a powerful cyclone, causing widespread devastation across the island. The storm, which hit overnight, has left severe destruction. Early reports suggest significant loss of life, but the exact toll remains uncertain.
Cyclone Chido, with winds exceeding 220 kilometers per hour, struck Mayotte directly, making it a Category 4 storm. Overturned containers and flattened homes revealed the storm's devastation in archipelago that belongs to France. French Interior Ministry confirmed at least 11 deaths and over 250 injuries. However, it also stated that determining the exact death toll will be challenging and no official figure is available yet. Speaking to local media on Sunday, Mayotte Prefect François-Xavier Buville called it the worst cyclone to hit the French territory in 90 years.
It's extremely difficult to say. I think number of the dead will certainly be several hundreds, perhaps approaching 1,000 or even a few thousands. But it's obvious that, given the violence of this event, we all experienced it in our flesh, in our family, with our loved ones, our colleagues.
Buville warned that the real toll is likely far higher, particularly in slums of metal shacks that suffered the worst devastation. France has deployed rescue teams and supplies to the Indian Ocean territory, where the cyclone caused widespread destruction. The intense storm on Saturday damaged public infrastructure, including the airport, flattened neighborhoods, and cut electricity.
What we need right now is help, bottled water, food and medical aid, because even the biggest hospital here in Mayotte is damaged. Also everything is destroyed there, so we need massive support. Even the search and rescue vehicles, their hangar is completely destroyed. We need a lot of equipment to clean all that up.
Nearby islands such as Comoros and Madagascar were also affected, but Mayotte suffered the most. The island, France's poorest territory and home to over 300,000 people, is struggling to recover from the shock of storm's impact.
Cyclone Chido also struck Mozambique, causing widespread damage by uprooting utility poles, destroying shelters and flooding roads. A video released by UNICEF showed strong winds bending palm trees and roads submerged in water in Pamba, a city on Mozambique's northeastern coast. UNICEF announced they were assisting those impacted by the cyclone. Meanwhile, Malawi and Zimbabwe braced for potential flooding from the cyclone. Zimbabwe issued warnings to some residents, advising them to prepare for possible evacuation. Britain has pledged a $63 million aid package to support vulnerable Syrians following Bashar al-Assad's regime's fall. The UK Foreign Office announced funds will go through UN agencies and NGOs to provide immediate relief in Syria and assist refugees in Lebanon and Jordan. A total of $38 million will fund food, shelter, healthcare, and the rehabilitation of essential services like water and schools, mainly through UN channels. The remaining $25 million will assist Syrians in neighboring countries, with over $12 million each for Lebanon and Jordan through the UN and World Food Programme.
Well, today I'm announcing a £50 million package of support and aid to Syria, and I support the ACBA principles that were agreed yesterday. We want to see a Syrian-led and a Syrian-owned future, and we want one that is representative and inclusive. That is what partners in the region and allies, close allies, signed up to yesterday, and that's what we'll be encouraging.
After the fall of Assad's government, Syrian refugees who have been living in Turkey for more than a decade have finally got a chance to come back home.
Syrians who sought refuge in Turkey during the 13-year civil war in their home country continue returning to Syria following the fall of Assad's government. Footage shows some of those crossing the Cilvegozu border gate in Turkey's southern Hatay province on Sunday. Women and children are given priority during the crossing process, with officials interacting with the children while their families' documents are being processed. Muhammad, a 29-year-old Syrian man waiting at Cilvegozu border gate, told reporters that he was on his way back to Aleppo after seeking refuge in Turkey 10 years ago.
We are returning to Syria now because the Bashar al-Assad regime has fallen. All of us are going back to our country. Hopefully, together we will rebuild our homeland. We are deeply grateful to Turkey for hosting us. We will never forget their kindness and will repay it. The Turkish people are our brothers, and they have a special place in our hearts for all the good they have done for us.
During the Syrian civil war, some 4 million Syrians took shelter in Turkey, more than any other country in the world. Bashar Assad, who served as Syria's president for nearly 25 years, fled to Russia after rebel forces took control of Damascus on December the 8th. The fall of the capital ended the decades-long political dominance of the Ba'ath party in Syria.
Meanwhile, schools have reopened in Damascus as day-to-day life in the Syrian capital gradually resumes a week after Assad was overthrown.
Students in Syria's capital, Damascus, have returned to classrooms on Sunday. This follows an order by the country's new rebel leaders in their efforts to stabilize the war-torn nation. The reopening of schools happens only a week after armed anti-government rebels belonging to the group Hayat Tahrir al-Sham overthrew Syria's president, Bashar al-Assad. School officials say the school buildings were not damaged during the civil war and expect a favorable turnout.
Everything is fine. We are fully equipped. We worked 2-3 days in order to equip the school with the needed services for the students' safe return to school. First of all, the school was not harmed at all, and everything is fine. We have the biggest number of students here, and we hope that the rest will come too.
I expect that we have a better relationship with the students because they are young and they have big hopes and ambitions, and we are supposed to encourage them.
The country's new de facto leader, Ahmed al-Shara, faces a massive challenge to rebuild Syria after over a decade of a civil war that has killed hundreds of thousands of people. Officials report of widespread reopening of schools across the country, but some parents are still hesitant to send their children to school due to safety concerns. Some students, however, express optimism about the move.
I am optimistic and very happy. I used to walk in the streets scared that I would get drafted to military service. I used to be afraid when I reached a checkpoint.
These efforts to rebuild Syria come as its neighbors and foreign powers work out a new stance on the country.
Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu discussed the situation in Syria and the ongoing push to free Israeli and foreign hostages with US President-elect Donald Trump. Israeli Prime Minister stressed that Israel has no interest in a direct conflict with Syria. However, Benjamin Netanyahu clarifies that Israeli actions in Syria are aimed at neutralizing potential threats and preventing the takeover of terrorist groups near Israel's border.
I remind you that for decades Syria was a proactive enemy state to Israel. It attacked us again and again. It allowed others to attack us from its territory. It allowed Iran to arm Hezbollah through its territory. To ensure that what happened will not happen again, we have taken a series of strong actions in the last few days. I discussed all of this again last night with my friend, US President-elect Donald Trump. It was a very friendly, very warm and very important conversation. We talked about the need to complete Israel's victory, and we also talked at length about the efforts we are making to free our hostages.
Political changes are underway in Kyrgyzstan, where President Sadir Japarov has dismissed Prime Minister Akilbek Japarov. After more than 2 years in office, the sudden move has sparked speculation about the former Prime Minister's next role, with rumors of a diplomatic posting abroad.
Kyrgyz President Sadir Japarov has signed a decree removing Akilbek Japarov from his position as Prime Minister and head of the presidential administration. The announcement was made by the Presidential Press Service. Akilbek Japarov, who has served as Prime Minister since October 2021, was dismissed as part of the transition to a new role. According to the decree, the Cabinet of Ministers will not be dissolved and will continue its work under Acting Prime Minister Adilbek Kasimaliyev, who previously served as First Deputy Prime Minister. Although no official details were provided about Akilbek Japarov's new assignment, speculations have circulated on social media suggesting he may become Kyrgyzstan's ambassador to the United States, a position currently vacant.
German Chancellor Olaf Scholz will face a vote of no confidence in Parliament today, taking a step towards early elections. Olaf Scholz is expected to lose the vote, with elections likely to be held by February 2025.
Germany is on the brink of early elections as Chancellor Olaf Scholz faces a no-confidence vote in the Bundestag on Monday. This comes after the Free Democratic Party of Germany left the governing coalition last month, leaving Scholz's Social Democrats and the Greens without a majority in parliament, just as Germany is grappling with a major economic crisis. Olaf Scholz has called for this vote in hopes of triggering early elections. If Parliament votes against him, President Frank-Walter Steinmeier will have 21 days to dissolve the Bundestag, with elections expected to occur within 2 months. The vote is expected to pass with opposition parties, including the far-right Alternative for Germany, voting against Scholz. Despite his party's likely support, Scholz himself is prepared to lose, as he sees this as a path to early elections. Meanwhile, German political parties, including Scholz's SPD, are already preparing for the campaign. Early polls show the Christian Democratic Union of Germany and its Bavarian sister party, the Christian Social Union, leading, with the AfD gaining ground.
South Korean law enforcement is seeking to summon impeachment President Yoon Suk-yeol for questioning over his controversial martial law decree. This comes as the Constitutional Court began hearings today to decide whether to remove Yoon from the office or reinstate the president. A joint investigative team will request Yoon's appearance on Wednesday over possible rebellion. Impeached by the opposition-led National Assembly on Saturday, Yoon's decree sparked protests. His supporters argue it was necessary against anti-state forces. Ruling party leader Hang Dong-hoon resigned after backing Yoon's impeachment. The Constitutional Court has up to 6 months to decide his fate. Bitcoin has surged to a record high above $106,000, reigniting enthusiasm among crypto investors. The world's leading cryptocurrency was last trading at $104,500, reflecting a 3.2% increase. Meanwhile, smaller rival Ether gained 1.5%, reaching $3,965.
With Bitcoin hitting new heights, analysts are now eyeing the next milestone of 110,000 US dollars. The cryptocurrency market has been in the spotlight as investors bet that the incoming Trump administration will create a more crypto-friendly regulatory environment, further boosting confidence in digital assets. Bitcoin has soared by 192% this year alone. According to data from July, governments across the globe hold 2.2% of Bitcoin's total supply, with the United States holding nearly 200,000 Bitcoins, valued at more than $20 billion at current prices. Other nations with significant Bitcoin reserves include China, the United Kingdom, Bhutan, and El Salvador. Several countries are now considering establishing their own cryptocurrency reserves. Russian President Vladimir Putin recently commented that the U.S. administration is undermining the role of the dollar as the world's reserve currency, prompting many nations to turn to alternative assets like Bitcoin. However, there are skeptics. Federal Reserve Chair Jerome Powell has compared Bitcoin to gold. An analyst cautioned that the idea of a national Bitcoin reserve would take time to materialize. Since the November 5th election, Bitcoin has risen by more than 50%, largely due to Trump's election and the success of other crypto-friendly candidates. The total value of the cryptocurrency market has more than doubled this year, now surpassing $3.8 trillion US dollars.
A large number of mysterious drones have been reported flying over parts of New Jersey and the East Coast in the USA in recent weeks, sparking speculation and the concerns over who sends them and why. The governors of New York and New Jersey have called on authorities to investigate the flight of these mysterious unmanned aerial vehicles.
The mysterious drones observed in the US airspace for several weeks have caused air traffic to slow down due to safety concerns. Most recently, it was reported that runways at Stewart International Airport, located approximately 100 kilometers north of New York, were temporarily closed for about an hour due to unmanned aerial vehicles spotted in the area.
We are aware of the drone sightings, as I've said. I think there are more than 8,000 drones flown every day in the United States. With respect to the ability to incapacitate those drones, we are limited in our authorities. We have certain agencies within the Department of Homeland Security that can do that and outside our department, but we need those authorities expanded as well.
According to the Federal Aviation Administration, the first mysterious drone sightings were detected on November the 18th over Morris and Somerset counties. The concerning mysterious unmanned aircraft were also spotted at a golf course in New Jersey, owned by the newly elected US President Donald Trump. As a result, local authorities restricted flights in the area due to the potential threat of an attack.
Look, it is our job to be vigilant in the federal government with our state and local partners on behalf of the American public, and we can assure their safety by reason of that vigilance. We've deployed personnel, technology, and if there is any reason for concern, if we identify any foreign involvement or criminal activity, we will communicate with the American public accordingly. Right now, we are not aware of any. If we become aware of any, we will communicate accordingly and take appropriate action.
A Pentagon spokesperson, Sabrina Singh, who has stated that New Jersey has been a security threat for some time, also addressed claims that the drones in question were launched from an Iranian ship in a region near the east, saying there is no truth to this.
The historic Sumela Monastery, located in Turkey's Trabzon, has turned into a captivating winter wonderland following 2 days of snowfall.
Carved into a steep cliff of Mount Karadağ overlooking the Altındere Valley, this ancient structure, also known as the Virgin Mary among locals, sits approximately 300 meters above the valley floor. The monastery, surrounded by dense forest, now wears a pristine white coat, enhancing its mystical aura. Sumela Monastery remains a top destination for history enthusiasts and nature lovers, offering a rare blend of architectural marvels and natural beauty. While summer remains a popular season, winter visits offer a serene and unforgettable experience. Sumela Monastery, listed as a tentative UNESCO World Heritage Site, was reopened for religious practices on August 15, 2010, after a hiatus of 88 years. Whether blanketed in green or white, this iconic landmark continues to be a symbol of Turkey's rich cultural and historical heritage.
A unique holiday tradition is making a splash at the Seattle Aquarium this December. A diving center entertains visitors while promoting holiday cheer and raising awareness about ocean conservation.
Throughout December, Santa Claus can be found swimming alongside fish, kelp and marine life inside the 120,000-gallon window on Washington Water's habitat. Andy Fieber, a research diver at the University of Washington and volunteer at the aquarium, takes on the role of the underwater Santa while also raising awareness about environmental conservation.
If folks want to come and visit Santa and they learn a thing or two in the process, that's just fantastic. I think that learning and understanding why conservation is important should be a fun process, and if someone like Santa gets to tell them a little bit more about some cool things about the ocean, then all the better. If they had a fun time doing it, that's great.
One more, just to be certain.
The diving Santa idea first came about as a way to draw visitors to the Seattle Aquarium and has since become a beloved annual tradition for the aquarium, local residents and tourists.
That's all for today's headlines. Thanks for tuning in and keep watching A News.